Now let's turn from an incoming king to an outgoing feudal ruler. Turkey has some news. No, not that kind of news. Erdogan is still in power very much. In fact, he made an announcement yesterday. He said Turkish forces have killed the leader of ISIS. The latest ISIS leader was codenamed Abu Hussein al-Qureshi. He took charge of the terrorist group in November last year. This was after his predecessor was killed by Syrian forces. And now this leader has been neutralized too. But the war against the ISIS is still on. It began in 2014. The terrorists wanted to set up an Islamic caliphate. They were at war with American, Syrian and Turkish forces and a host of regional militias. Now 4 of its heads have been killed. Our next report has more.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan made an announcement yesterday. He announced a victory in the fight against terrorism.
I would like to share a new information with our public during this broadcast. There has been a development that shows a determined fight against terrorist organizations. Our National Intelligence Organization has been following the so-called leader of Daesh, codenamed Abu Hussein al-Qureshi, for a long time. This is the first time I'm announcing this news, that this individual was neutralized as part of an operation by the Turkish National Intelligence Organization in Syria yesterday. God willing, we will continue our fight against terrorist organizations without any exception.
Erdogan says Abu Hussein al-Qureshi was killed on Saturday. He was neutralized in a raid overseen by Turkey's National Intelligence Organization, the MIT. Syrian locals and security forces say the raid took place in the northern Syrian town of Cinderes. The town is controlled by Turkey-backed rebel groups. A resident says clashes started on the edge of Cinderes overnight from Saturday into Sunday. They took place at an abandoned farm that was being used as an Islamic school. The clashes reportedly lasted for about an hour. Residents say they were followed by an explosion. After that, security forces surrounded the area and prevented anyone from entering. ISIS has not made any announcement about its leader's death. Neither has the Turkey-backed opposition group known as the Syrian National Army. This is the group that has a security presence in the area. But even if ISIS acknowledges the death of Abu Hussein al-Qureshi, it is unlikely to be the end of the conflict. He will be the 4th ISIS leader killed by various anti-terrorism forces. Multiple forces have been fighting ISIS since 2014, and over the years, they've killed multiple ISIS leaders. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was the first so-called caliph. He took on the title in June 2014. This was when ISIS was at its peak. Baghdadi was killed in October 2019 by American forces. He was followed by his deputy, Abu Ibrahim al-Qureshi. This leader was killed in February 2022. He was also taken out by US forces. The third so-called caliph was Abu al-Hasan al-Qureshi. He lasted less than a year. He was killed by one of the many rebel groups in Syria in October 2022. They allied with the Syrian government to bring this ISIS leader down. Which brings us to the leader Turkey says it killed on Saturday, Abu Hussein al-Qureshi. He was in charge of ISIS for just 5 months. The tenures of the ISIS leaders are steadily dwindling, but the group still remains dangerous. Its offshoots in various parts of the world still cause havoc. It has the ability to inspire lone wolf attacks. This is when someone is radicalized and conducts a terror attack on their own. Lone wolf attacks are some of the hardest to stop because there is no group conspiring to commit it, and the attackers are always ready to die. The fact that ISIS encourages these attacks makes it as deadly as ever outside the territory it controls. The fight against terror demands constant vigilance, and until ISIS is completely uprooted, it won't stop. They'll just keep appointing new leaders one after the other, leaders who keep inspiring terror and lead to deaths around the world.